All right, let's continue. This read CSV command has created a variable right here, this variable we call data. It has initialized it as what's called a Pandas data frame, which is essentially a table with some cool extra features. So let me show you some of the things you can do. I wish I could get that to stick right there. Okay, perfect. So let's continue to use our data object. Let's print data, and as soon as I type a bracket, it automatically detects, oh, data is a data frame, and we recognize some column names that were in that data file. Let's print out age. And it gives us all the ages. Now, when it has a lot of them, you'll notice that sometimes what it'll do actually is it kind of gives this, hey, we got to the row 29, then here's the last few of them. We can also refer to a row. Let's do that. I'm going to print out up top above this so we don't have to scroll to the bottom of all that. We're going to print out a row by using the iLoc method. So data.I or index location. So now we can refer to a number. So let's put in 0, and that says print out the very first record right here. And look how it does it. iLoc 0 says for the very first one, which we know is this one right here, print out each of the columns like this: left align column names, right align column values. All right, so you can access rows and columns. Next, I want to show you some other features. Let's make a data frame out of our own small data set instead of reading in a CSV, so I can show you some other examples. So let's do this. Let's make a very simple data frame out of a dictionary. That's a common task. Let's say we've got a predefined dictionary already. A dictionary of lists. That's basically what this is. So let's do this. Let's use our heart rates example. Heart rates, we're going to have this equals, sorry, it's a dictionary. Oops, no, come on. Didn't mean to do that. All right, let's have, first of all, let's have an ID. I want to show you an example of using an index. So ID, we're going to say 1 for the first person. And then this is going to be a, let's make this a dictionary of lists. So this is going to be ID, and instead right here, the value, the key is the ID, the value is going to be a list. So call this 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it simple. All right, and then the next key value pair is going to be measure or heart rate 1, and this is going to be another list. We'll call this 89, 78, 65, 64, and let's make, we're going to need, so we have one heart rate, let's do 3 heart rate measures for each person. So that's what we got here. So heart rate 2, heart rate 3. Let's just make these something a little bit different. 110. This is someone who's starting to go jogging. 130, 120, 129, 141. This person is starting to rest. Or sorry, no, all of them went up. This isn't one person. This is the third measure for all 4 people. So let's make this, they all started going back down again or something. 76, 87, 77, 59. Okay, cool. That's our dictionary. Next, I want to cast that dictionary into a data frame. So we still have our Pandas library imported. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's call this heart rate data frame, HRDF. That's not the best, but no, that'll work. Equals PD for our Pandas library dot data, capital D, data frame. So we are going to cast heart rates as a data frame. But notice, data frame. But notice that because data frame is something that's only defined in the Pandas library, not in the basic Python library, we had to use the Pandas prefix to cast this dictionary into a data frame. Now, let's print out HRDF and see what this looks like. Okay, look, it realized that because it's a data frame, it's not going to be printed out like a dictionary. It's going to be printed out like a table. So I can use this just like I did before. I can say, all right, let's print HRDF. Let's print out one of the column names like maybe heart rate 3. Prints out the whole column for me. Or I can print HRDF dot index location record 3, and it even tells me right here what the index is. So there it is, P4 and the P4's values. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is how to iterate through a data frame. And I think the easiest way to show you how to do that is to show you how to reference or set a value or get a value from a data frame. Let me show you what I mean. So we've got our HRDF data frame here of heart rates. I'm going to start by, let's change the value of one of the cells. So let's say that we wrote down wrong this heart rate right here of 98. So for P1, heart rate 1, the heart rate was actually, let's say, 72. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to reference, I love how it brings that up for us. I want to reference heart rate 1. Oops, come on, there we go. And then I want to reference the indexed, let's say not the 0, yeah, the 0 position of heart rate 1. And I want to set that equal to 72. So what this means is HR1 says take me to the HR1 column right here. And then the 0 means take me to the 0 index there, right there at 98. So I'm going to run that. And then I want to print HRDF one more time so we can see if it worked. There we go. This one got changed, and this is complaining. It's saying a value is trying to be set on a copy of a slice from the data frame. So be careful. It's only changed in memory. We haven't saved this to a CSV file or anything like that. We'll learn that in the next section. That's what these caveats are all about. Now that's how you change a value. Now let's go back and retrieve a value. So let's print HRDF. This time let's print out the HR3 value for index 3. That's the last one on the list. 59 right there. HR third index right there. So understanding now how we select an item in the list, let me show you how we can iterate through it with a for loop. So let's do a for, there's a few ways we can do this. First, let's do it this way. I want to make a columns variable that is a list that we cast from the HRDF. So let me show you what this is creating for us. Let's print columns here. What we did was we said create a list out of basically the first row in the list, which is the column headers. So the defaults to the first record in there. I could have made a list out of any row just by simply .iloc and then referencing the row right here. See, if I do that, it gives me the first one in the list. I could access any of the data that way, but if I just want the headers only, I can cast the data frame into a list and it'll ignore all the data and just give me that first one. So now that I have that cool list called columns, I'm going to say for I in columns. So this is a way of getting out of having to create a nested loop. I can now say, let's print, for example, let's do HRDF. We can say I, and that will change for each one, and record 1 or something like that. So what this has done is said, okay, for I in columns, for each one of these, print out record 1, which is right here. So it prints out P2 and goes through all those. We don't have to use this technique. We can also say, instead of looping through a row, we can also loop down a column. So let's do that. Let's say I think that we're first going to make a list out of, let's say rows here. We're going to say rows equals list. But instead of that top list there, let's do HRDF. And this time, let's reference a column like HR1. Oops. HR1. So now that we have the column as a list, we can say for RN rows, print R. There we go. So it goes down the row for H1 right here and loops down here instead of across the column. So this is, let me move this down here just so we can have it all in one nice clean place. So this is looping through a row by having a list of columns, printing out the value in each column for a row. Let me make that clear. Print out the value in each column for a row. And then in this one down here, we are looping through a column. Print out the value in each row for a column. All right. I think this is enough for now. We have just scratched the surface for what's possible with data frames. There are so many more cool features, but now is not the time to go through them. We'll actually use them and learn them when we're covering the cleaning and transformation phases of the data mining process in the next module, or in a few chapters down the road. But for now, we'll leave it at this and move on to writing data in the next section.